JFK files. All right, last night, 63,400 pages were released. And as I said on News Nation, really, I didn't think there were going to be any direct accusations or a smoking gun, pardon the pun, about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. The best book ever is Killing Kennedy. I know I'm going to say that, but 2 million people bought it, and it's never been impeached. Everything we have in there is true. But there are some very interesting things that are coming out of the National Archives. Remember, the documents that are coming out about the Kennedy assassination, and Martin Luther King Jr. too, they haven't come out, but President Trump told me Monday in person that they will, okay? These are intel documents, American intelligence documents. They're not stuff that they found in Jimmy Hoffa's locker or anything like that, okay? These are intel documents. And the CIA is front and center with the Kennedy assassination. Joining us now is a guy who has been investigating the assassination for decades. His name is Jefferson Morley. He works for Substack now. I read his stuff all the time. Incredible man. He's not some loony conspiracy theorist. And remember, those conspiracy people make a lot of money peddling this stuff. A lot of money. And people believe what they want to believe. So anyway, Mr. Morley, I know you've been looking at some of this stuff. Is there a headline that's been out there?
Yeah, there's a bombshell in these stories. And the emerging story is the CIA surveillance, manipulation, and use of Lee Harvey Oswald for intelligence purposes while President Kennedy was still alive. Now, there's not one document that shows this, but there's about 9 Angleton documents that became public yesterday. And if you read those documents in conjunction with Lee Harvey Oswald's CIA file and documents released in recent years, you see this pattern of malfeasance around CIA operations around Oswald that have never been explained.
All right, let me stop you. Who is James Angleton?
Say that again?
Who is James Angleton?
James Angleton. He was the counterintelligence chief of the CIA, and his testimony emerged yesterday. He testified to congressional authorities in the 1970s, to a couple of committees in closed-door testimony. So this executive session testimony has become public for the first time.
What did he say? What exactly did he say?
Documents. I missed your question.
What did Angleton say to the committee?
What Angleton said to the committee was that he had relied on Israeli emigres to build his own intelligence empire. And one of the people who he deployed to monitor and surveil Oswald was probably one of these Israeli agents. It's not clear yet, but it seems like the evidence in this new testimony strongly suggests that Angleton recruited Oswald as a source or a contact. It's indisputable that he kept him under surveillance for 4 years, from 1959 to 1963. These new documents point to an Israeli connection using Israeli agent to monitor Oswald. You know, Bill, Angleton had 180 pages on Lee Harvey Oswald on his desk a week before Kennedy went to Dallas. That fact alone has only emerged in recent years, received no news coverage, and is really an extraordinarily important part of the story. What the new documents raise is, was the CIA atrociously incompetent when it came to the alleged lone gunman? Or was Angleton actually running a counterintelligence operation involving him? Okay. And I believe it's the latter.
So I will answer your questions. I will answer your questions. All right, so Lee Harvey Oswald was a former Marine who defected to the Soviet Union. The Soviet authorities accepted him into the country. He got married to a Russian, learned the language a little bit. The U.S. State Department met with Lee Harvey Oswald and told him not to do it. Oswald did it anyway. Oswald got tired of Russia, went back, petitioned for re-entry to the USA. The State Department let him back, which was unusual. Oswald
Yeah.
gets back. He's a ne'er-do-well. He's a miscreant. He can't earn a living. He's abusive to his wife. He beats her up. Then he decides he wants to defect to Cuba. He goes to Mexico City, where the CIA is surveilling the Mexico City embassy because of Castro. They see him. They then go back, and this is where Angleton comes in. So he's on the radar. He's a defector to the Soviet Union. Now he's down trying to get to Cuba. We're going to watch him. They assigned a minder to him in Dallas, Texas. That is where Lee Harvey Oswald settles with Marina. The minder's name is George de Mohrenschildt. You know him. You discussed it. He is the hands-on guy that is monitoring what Lee Harvey Oswald is doing. And I don't know this to be a fact, but it has to be reporting to Angleton, back to Angleton.
Yes.
It's not an Israeli guy. It's
there's every reason to believe that George de Mohrenschildt's reporting went up the food chain in the
there's
CIA.
There's no doubt it did. Okay.
Yeah.
De Mohrenschildt is teaching college at Bishop, an African American school. Okay. He is an aristocrat. He speaks like 5 languages. His wife is one of these dilettantes, and he's hanging with Lee and Marina, who can barely make a living. There's nothing except for the Russian language. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
Oswald kills Kennedy, and there's no doubt he did. He ordered the car
I doubt
down.
that, Bill. I doubt that.
I know.
The forensic evidence doesn't support that.
That's not true. And you and I will never agree. Oswald orders the Carcano. His prints are on the rifle. The shellings in the car match the Carcano. He did it. But again, I respect you. You believe what you want to believe. Okay? Oswald had tried to kill somebody before. He shot a police officer after. It's all documented in my book. And again, people can believe
but you know what else is
believe.
documented, Bill? You know what else is documented? The Dallas doctors who tried to save Kennedy, they unanimously agreed Kennedy had been hit by gunfire from the front.
None of them have appeared. None of them have appeared in public to say that. And if they had, I would have covered it.
That's not true. Dr. Robert McClellan stood at the head of the table looking at Kennedy's head wound, and he describes this in 2 interviews you can find on YouTube. Dr. Robert McClellan was one of the Dallas
CBS?
doctors.
Was that NBC? Was that ABC? Where was that?
No, he sat for an interview with a doctor.
Oh, come on.
And these are on.
Look, all of that. If you want to believe it, Jeff, you believe it. I don't. I need hard evidence. If a doctor
he's not a conspiracy theorist. He's an eyewitness.
Well, then why wasn't he on 60 Minutes with Mike Wallace? Okay.
He was very public about what he wanted to do.
No, he didn't go public
because the implications of what he said were so profound.
He never went public.
The New York
Times could have gone on
he
could have been on with Cronkite. He could have been on with anybody. He didn't do it. All right. And nobody backs him up.
I just urge people to look at the YouTube of Dr. Robert McClellan and decide for themselves.
The key.
We disagree, but people should judge for themselves.
And I applaud that. You will not find anything in the CIA or FBI files that refer to any doctor that disputes that Oswald pulled the trigger. It won't be there. Interesting. Okay. So then de Mohrenschildt disappears.
Dr. Robert McClellan was quite clear about.
That's fine. It's not in the files. It was not taken seriously. So de Mohrenschildt disappears.
Why wouldn't they take the testimony of a doctor who observed Kennedy's wound from 18 inches away?
Why wouldn't he go public on broadcasts that would have been very happy to take him?
He didn't want publicity.
Oh, he didn't want publicity. Doesn't stack. And let's move ahead now. So de Mohrenschildt disappears. All right. Yeah. And I know that because I was in his house, and he's gone. And this is the late 70s. He goes to his daughter's house in Palm Beach, where the congressional investigators, are trying to track him down and interview him, and de Mohrenschildt commits suicide. Okay. Yeah. I'm there. I'm in town. We know what's going on there. We didn't know he was going to do that. We show up to the house. The cops are there, all like that. That has never been explained. His daughter still lives in the USA. Not going to say where. It's not fair to her. I don't want to put her in danger. I don't know what she knows. I know she despises her father. We know that. But we don't know. That is the key. And I'm looking for any George de Mohrenschildt stuff coming out of these files. So far, I haven't seen any. Have you?
You know, one of the problems with this release was that the archives did not do what's called OCRing. They didn't make these documents searchable before they posted them. So we're going to do that at the Mary Farrell Foundation, and the website of the Mary Farrell Foundation is maryfarrell.org.
Make me a promise.
And then we can go through and we can put de Mohrenschildt in.
Yeah, de Mohrenschildt.
I will come back to you with it. Anything de Mohrenschildt related.
And Angleton. So if Angleton and de Mohrenschildt are corresponding back and forth, that is a key to this mystery.
Yeah,
and that's where we are.
That's where the story is going.
I hope so, because we need to find out everything about it. We absolutely do. Mr. Morley, thanks very much. We really appreciate it. And once again, if you can check out what he says, I don't believe it. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.